You share in one of your chapters how there was a time where some of these popular books were coming out from people that were really like taking a look at their faith and how their experience in the evangelical world had formed them, and how initially you were like, what is wrong with these people? Like, I experienced some bad things. I'm fine.
Yeah,
But
that
then
was
you
like,
had some more real life things happen
yeah,
that made
yeah,
you think, okay, I want to listen to what they have to say.
yeah,
Tell me, tell us about that experience for you.
yeah. So, after I left IBLP and I went to college and I dated and married my opposite husband, and we went to Bible school and we were going to go into ministry. And I thought I had left most of my religious, legalistic ideas behind. I was doing really well at being this, normal Christian person. And it was in that season when he was a youth pastor and I was his wife and had two kids, and these books came out. And I was just like, this is terrible. Like, why are people leaving their faith? Why are they questioning their faith? But I hadn't really experienced any kind of Christian hurt, trauma, spiritual abuse kind of thing outside of the cult. And so it was like, I could look at the cult and then be like, but yeah, but I'm fine now. And then we went through spiritual abuse and religious trauma at the church that we were pastoring at. And after a year that was like from hell, we ended up being told we had to leave. And it wasn't like we had done anything. It was just a conflict, abusive leadership. It was all the things that you read about, all the stories that you hear about all the time.
Yeah.
It's like they have a little checklist of how to do it because everything happened to us. And it was beyond devastating. Like, it was the hardest thing I've ever been through.
Yeah.
And it completely broke me. Like, if I didn't know Jesus for myself, I would probably have left my faith
Yeah. You expected better
because,
of them. You expected a cult to be a cult. Cults
yeah,
do culty things.
yes. And I
Cults will
expected
be
church people
unhealthy,
to
they
be
will
healthy.
harm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so, so devastating. But in that place of brokenness, I actually read the books. I'd never read them before. I just condemned
Yeah.
them, read them and realized, gosh, I get this now.
Yeah.
Like, I get why you would want to be done with this. I get why you would walk away from this. And yeah, I mean, that it was the hardest thing that ever happened to me. It was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me because I feel like that is what just broke me, humbled me, made me the gracious person who's like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge you because I've been there. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think that loosens some of those hidden tentacles of
oh
legalism that we don't realize are still there,
yeah,
where we're like, "Oh, yeah, I let go of some of these other things, but I assumed that there were other things beyond the creeds that made somebody actually okay
yep,
with Jesus," right?
yep,
Where
yep, and yeah,
I feel more comfortable now too, now that life has just felt so much more broken, experienced more of it, to be like, I talk about sitting at the literal or metaphorical church potluck. I want to
hmm
sit by that person that's experienced the hard thing because they're more likely to not say something stupid. They're more likely to understand things are more complicated
yeah,
than you think they are. And when you're going through something really hard, that's the person I wanna sit next to while they're eating their banana pudding and the whatever other casserole that Mary always brings. I wanna sit by them.
yeah,
Um, and I too found that, like, some people that I was sort of afraid to even entertain what they had to say, I was like, "You know what? I'm not afraid of what they have to say anymore because the truth stands. The
yeah,
truth holds up." And I honestly believe in the end, some of these people that I have some different theology with, that we still agree on some of these like creedal things,
hmm
we're gonna be with Jesus together. And uh and so I just thought that I love that your heart softened in a way that
yeah,
made you say, all right, there's something here. There's
yeah.
something here.
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting because I didn't necessarily agree with them still. Like, the at the end of the book, I was like, okay, I still like I get that, but but it was okay because I was able to be like, okay, I hear your story. I hear where you're coming from. I get this. And the potluck thing you're talking about, I think the people who have been through the hard things, they also know that you don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Like you can just sit there and listen to this person share with you and be like, mm-hmm, you're not crazy. Mm-hmm. I got you. Like, yep. And just to have somebody acknowledge you and like understand your story, understand your pain, understand your questions, like it's a beautiful thing to have somebody who can just be like, yep, you're okay.